Pronoun. Pronoun is a word used instead of a noun. For example, look at Jack, he's studying. John and Mary have come to see him. They are glad to see him studying. He is also glad to see them. So when I started the sentence, I said, look at Jack, and I introduced the character Mary as well. So when these two characters has been introduced, and if I continue talking about them, so it is not compulsory that whenever I'm talking about them, I need to address them only with the word John or with the noun Mary. So I can use a pronoun as well. So the word which I have used, that is he and they, to address these characters is a pronoun, because that is a word which is used in place of a noun. There are different kind of pronoun which are as follows. The first one is personal pronoun. First is personal pronoun, and it they stand for three person. For the first person, for the second person, and for the third person. In the first person, the pronoun which refers to the person or the person speaking. For example, I, we, me, us, mine, and ours. And in the second person, the pronoun which refers to the person or person spoken to. And the pronoun are you and yours. For third person, the pronoun which refers to the person or the thing spoken of. And the pronoun are he, she, him, her, hers, they, them, their, and it. This is what is the personal pronoun. Now, talking about the second, that is reflexive or emphatic pronoun. Reflexive. If I talk about reflexive pronoun act as the object to the verb, but they refer to the same person as the subject of the verb. For example, explaining the reflexive pronoun with example, I blame myself for my failure. I blame myself for my failure. Or the second example, if I say we often talk to ourselves, or they always talk about themselves, he hanged himself, she put herself to trouble for nothing. So talking about the example which I've written, that is I blame myself for my failure, here the pronoun is myself. And this pronoun is known as reflexive pronoun because it acts as an object to the verb, but they refer to the same person, and the same person is I, because I was talking, this is the I am, and this myself is for the subject I, to the same person as the subject to the verb. That's why myself is known as reflexive pronoun. Now if I speak about emphatic pronouns are used with a noun or a pronoun for the sake of emphasis. Like an adjective, the emphasis pronoun is very, own. Similarly, here the emphasis, like the very and own word, emphasize on the word which you speak about. Similarly, in emphatic pronoun are used with a noun or a pronoun for the sake of emphasis. For example, giving the example of emphatic pronoun, she herself cooked food for the guest. She herself cooked the food for the guest. She herself, if I say she cooked the food for the guest, convey the same meaning as the meaning conveyed by the sentence which I've written, that is she herself cooked the food. So now here herself is the emphatic pronoun because it is emphasizing on the subject, that is she. Or you can say the difference between reflexive and emphatic is emphatic means to put emphasis on. It is directly used after the it is like if you read the sentence, she himself cooked the food for the guest. Here she is also a pronoun, and herself is also a pronoun. But herself is the emphatic pronoun because it is putting emphasis on the word she, and she is a personal pronoun. Now here if I talk about reflexive pronoun, I blame myself. So it is used always after the verb. Reflexive pronoun is always used after the verb, but it is not to be taken in the same manner for emphatic pronoun as well. And emphatic pronoun, what happens is like you put emphasis, it is used always after the other pronoun, or you can say it is sometimes always used, it is sometimes also used after at the last also. For example, you must do the assignment yourself. You must do the assignment yourself. So again, yourself is at the last, but yourself was putting emphasis on the word you. Now, the third one is demonstrative pronoun. Demonstrative pronoun, they are used to point out the object or objects for which they are used actually. The demonstrative pronoun are this, these, that, and those. This and these refers to thing near at hand, and that and those refers to the thing like at the distance. For example, this is my book, these are your friends, that is my house, those are your friends. So here I'm pointing out the object for what actually this, that, or these and those is used for. Next is distributive pronoun. Distributive pronoun, it refers to a number of person or thing at at a time, one at a time. These pronouns are always singular and are always followed by a verb in the singular. And the pronoun are each, either, and neither are such pronoun. I repeat, the definition for the distributive pronoun is like it refers to a number of person or things at a time. These pronouns are always singular or are always followed and is always followed by the verb in the singular. Now the pronoun are each, either, and neither. Now each student secured a reward. Neither of you is correct. So here I'll not use nor with it. Here I'll not use or with it. At either end of the road was the park. Neither of your answer is correct. Next is interrogative pronoun. Interrogative pronoun are used for asking questions, and they are the pronoun which is used for asking question is who, whom, and whose. Who, whom, and whose are used for asking questions about things. Who is calling you? Whom do you want to meet? Whose book is it? Now, what? What is used for asking questions about things? What shall you do after graduation? Which? Which is used for asking a question about a particular person or thing. Talking about person. Which is the most intelligent student in this class? Talking about thing. Which is the best book? Next is reciprocal. Reciprocal pronoun. They are pronouns that denote a reciprocal or mutual action. They are each, other, and one another. Each other generally used when two person or things are referred to, and one another generally used when more than two person or thing are referred. Giving you example of each other, Jack and Jill loved each other, and giving you the example of one another, the people of India love one another, because here you're talking about more than two person, and in the previous sentence I talked about two person. Next is relative pronoun. The pronoun who, whose, whom, which, that. I repeat, who, whose, whom, which, and that, which join two sentences and relate or refer to noun which have gone before are called relative pronoun, talking about the same thing which you have talked previously also. The noun to which a relative pronoun refer or relate is called antecedent. For example, this is the boy who was punished, and the example boy is the antecedent of who. So because I'll write the example. This is the boy who was punished. This is the boy. So actually who was punished? Boy. And again you are referring to the same person, giving the pronoun that is who. So this is what is known as relative pronoun. Now, talking about use of relative pronoun, and first we'll talk about who. Who is always, it is used for person only. Example, the man who is honest succeed in his life. They who lives in glass houses should not throw stones at other. Next is whose. It is in the possessive case of who, and it refers to person as well as to thing. Who refers only to the person and whom refers to person as well as thing. For example, this is the question whose solution baffles me, and the school building. So thing, the school building whose roof was damaged has now been repaired. Next relative pronoun, that is which. It is used for animals and for things without life. Is used for animals and is used for things without life. For example, these are the books which we purchased yesterday. The horse which won the race is John's. And the other example, if I would like to give, the thing which we lost have been found. Next is whom. It is used in formal written English. It is common to use who in place of whom in ordinary conversation. For example, the man who the police caught was a dreaded terrorist. In place of who, I can even use a word whom. The man whom the police caught was a dreaded terrorist. So it is common to use who in place of whom. Next, relative pronoun, that is used for person, thing, and animals as well. For example, it may refer, um, for example, these are the books that can be trusted, or this is the ring that I lost yesterday. It hardly matter to like it is singular, you're talking about a singular or a plural thing. That is preferred to who or which, though who or which can be used equally. After the superlative degree of adjective, for example, now looking to pronoun at a glance. First we'll take person, then the subjective, then the objective, then reflexive, and then possessive. Now, for the first person, then we'll talk about the second person, and then about the third person. For the first person, the subjective is I and we, and for the objective, me, us. For reflexive, myself or ourself, and in possessive, my, our, and mine. In second, talking about the subjective case, we have you. Talking about objective, we again have you. Talking about reflexive, we have yourself or yourselves, singular as well as plural, and in possessive, again your and yours. In third person subjective, we have he, she, it, and they. In objective, him, her, it, and them. And in third person reflexive, we have himself, herself, itself, and themselves. In possessive third person, we have his, her, hers. Now, if I've written his, it's for her, his, and her. So you can use hers, but you can't use HISS. Then it's their and theirs.